Hello, I just did my speech. I don't want to speak about the celebration of 2 years aggression, because celebration is usually something where you put with positive moments. It's just to show to the Ukrainians that we're on their side. I have a special relation in the situation having a Russian grandmother, Polish grandfather, Jewish grandfather. And when I was inside room listening to the Russian ambassador, it was like a fairy tale to listen to him, that they are the savior, that the Nazi regime in Kiev has to be destroyed. I think Russia is rewriting the history. They were in Second World War liberators, but they are now aggressors. And if I see that they are rewriting history, this is a shame for all the Russians who died in the Second World War to fight against the Nazi regime, to consider that now they have a war against Nazi. I had contact with Vladimir Putin and also with Zelensky at the beginning of the war. I tried to negotiate, but to negotiate you need also to have someone listening to you. I had this ear from Vladimir Putin. I just see inside, as soon as I take the floor, the Russian ambassador is leaving the room, so it's difficult to have a dialogue if they are leaving as soon as you speak about them. President Putin is not ready for discussions, and it just happens also that after Irpin and Bucha and the calls I had with him, I decided to stop it. Impunity is impossible. We have to sue also the Russian aggressor, and we have to know that Ukraine is not only fighting for themselves, they're also fighting for us. When the Russians think that they are heroes, you have to know that Baltic countries, Poland, Romania, Georgia, Moldova and other countries are scared about Russia. They don't know what the next aggression could be from Russian side. And when you consider that nowadays the best allies of Russia is Pyongyang and it's Syria and Iran, this shows how isolated Russia is. So they should realize, and I said also in the room that if President Putin realized that he did an error, he still has my phone number, he can give a call. But I don't believe in it. Voilà. Thank you. Yes?
Thank you so much. You mentioned that you believe that all this fight with Nazis is a fairy tale, according to your opinion. Then what do you make of the story with the Nazi which was held in the Canadian Parliament, Yaroslav Hunko, Ukrainian Nazi who was held by the Parliament and who was held by the President Zelensky either there?
Yeah,
So
it's not because an error has been done that you have to consider that all Ukrainians are Nazi. It would be an error also to consider that all Germans were Nazis. There were errors done, but to consider that all Ukrainians are Nazi and that they have to defend Russia and the Ukrainians against Nazi, it's rewriting history. There are no more Nazis in Kiev than in Moscow and St. Petersburg. I know these three cities, and I can tell you there are no more. The errors in the Canadian Parliament has been recognized also by the Canadians, and I think for me, l'affaire est close. They didn't know, at least that's what they say, all the historic past also of this guy. An error has been done, but this has not to be considered that now we are all Nazi. This is, again, rewriting history.
Russia never said that all Ukrainians are Nazis. Russia never said that.
But so you missed the speech inside.
I was listening.
The ambassador said that they have to protect and that Kiev is supporting the Nazi regime. I'm sorry. This is a statement I cannot accept.
Mr. Minister?
Yep.
Thank you. Do you have a message to your American partners about the military aid that's being held up, about the importance of it to winning the war in Ukraine?
We should know that, the Americans delivered my country. I just want to remind that in the Second World War, Americans, Canadians, and Brits rescued Europe. They were not neighbors, but in fact, they were world leaders and they wanted to fight for peace. If nowadays it's not anymore the position of the United States, it would be a pity, and especially for domestic national issues to put Ukraine in hostage is a difficult situation. I hope that there will be an agreement, and that Ukrainians, we should not forget, they are fighting not only for themselves. I just want to remind, when I see my colleagues in the European Union, I'm geographically more lucky than some others. But this is terrible that nowadays everything depends on your neighborhood. I had it in the Second World War. Germans attacked us. Nowadays they are my partners, my friends. my neighbors. Yes?
Hi, Carrie Naughton from Le Monde and Radio France Internationale. Can you tell us, like, considering there's a push for change of paradigm in some U.S. media on the U.S. space and their role and mission towards Ukraine, what would you have to say? What kind of paradigm shift do you observe around all your diplomat peers?
I see that for the moment the European Union was able to deblock. So as European Union, for example, the help also for Ukraine, not all, but the part has been deblocked. We know that Ukraine is not able to do themselves everything. They're dependent on the support of the others. If we want to give up Ukraine, we can, but we shouldn't. Because it's, believe me, we don't know who will be the next. At the beginning of the war, a lot of countries thought Ukraine is a history of 3 or 4 days. And then it's done. Ukrainians will be destroyed. And there will be a Russian country. I don't know how to get out of the situation for the moment, to be very frank. I try to have these dialogues, but if you want to have dialogue, you have also have partners who want to have a dialogue. And the situation is now that Ukrainians are for the moment a bit weaker than before, and that's a position where Russia will never negotiate as long as they are in a strong position. So we need to support Ukraine, that we have a position where both can find an agreement. Knowing Putin well and having Russian roots, I can tell you Russians will not accept that they did an error. So you will have to find an agreement where Russia is able to accept, and on the other hand, we have a peace plan by Zelensky, which shows that Ukraine has a solution without being humiliating. And so the support of Ukraine is a support also for the negotiations. Okay, thank you. Bye.